Have you ever felt a quiet ache deep in your core, where the world feels too loud, too shallow, too disconnected from truth? Picture this: you're in a room buzzing with chatter, laughter, gossip, plans for the weekend, and yet you're utterly alone. Not because you want to be, but because no one else sees what you see. They skim the surface, talking about jobs or trends, while your mind plunges into the depths. Why are we here? What if our lives are built on fragile illusions? What does it mean to truly exist? If this resonates, if your thoughts churn like a storm at 3 a.m., you're a deep thinker. Your mind is a gift, but it's a heavy one, a velvet curse that cuts as much as it illuminates. Through the lens of Carl Jung, the mystic who mapped the soul, we'll explore the pains of deep thinkers, their hidden struggles, and the sacred path to wholeness. You're not broken. You're on the edge of something profound. Let's start with the wounds, the raw aches that deep thinkers carry like invisible scars. First, there's the loneliness, not the fleeting kind from a missed call, but a bone-deep, existential solitude. Jung called it the curse of seeing too clearly. You notice the masks people wear, the polite smiles, the rehearsed lines, the unconscious scripts they follow without question. While others coast through life on autopilot, reacting to shadows like Plato's cave dwellers, you see the strings pulling it all. Small talk feels like sandpaper on your soul. Parties? They're cages. You long to dive into ideas, to ask why, to unravel the mysteries of existence, but the world around you seems content with platitudes. Why don't they see it too? You wonder. That gap between your inner world and their outer one becomes a chasm. You feel like an alien, forever translating thoughts too vast for words, watching connections fray because you can't play the game of shallow. Then there's the exhaustion, a fatigue no sleep can touch. Overthinking isn't just a quirk for you, it's a compulsion, a relentless drive. Your mind is a labyrinth, and you're trapped inside, chasing endless corridors of what-ifs and why-nots. Jung, in his Psychological Types, described the introverted thinker as someone possessed by ideas, not just processing them but immersing in them, turning each one inside out until it yields meaning. But this depth comes at a cost. A single hour of reflection can leave you drained, as if you've run a mental marathon. Decisions become paralyzing because every choice spirals into infinities. Should I take this job? What if it pulls me from my purpose? What if I'm wrong? The loop tightens, and instead of living, you're dissecting the blueprint of life, analyzing every angle until you're spent. The world moves on, but you're stuck, wrestling with questions that have no easy answers. And the misunderstandings, they sting like salt and fresh wounds. To the fast-paced, extroverted world, you're too serious, overly intense, or worse, antisocial. They mistake your depth for aloofness, your sensitivity for fragility. Friends drift away because you can't muster the energy for their small talk. Lovers leave because you probe too deeply, unearthing shadows they'd rather keep buried. Jung said introverted thinkers prioritize inner logic over external validation, seeking truth over applause. But in a culture obsessed with hustle and surface shine, your intensity is misread as arrogance or inadequacy. You carry these judgments like a shadow self, whispering doubts. Am I too much? Too little? Do I even belong here? The world labels your gift a flaw, and that cuts deeper than you let on. These pains aren't random. They're the toll of a psyche wired for the unconscious, tuned to frequencies most never hear. Carl Jung, born in 1875, wasn't just a psychoanalyst. He was a visionary who saw the psyche as a living mandala, a sacred circle striving for wholeness. Unlike Freud, who reduced the mind to primal drives, Jung believed it was a bridge between the rational and the divine. For deep thinkers, his work is a lifeline. He didn't see our depth as a disorder. He saw it as a pilgrimage. In his Psychological Types, he described us as introverted thinkers, minds that build cathedrals of meaning in solitude, crafting frameworks from the ether. We don't collect facts like trinkets. We forge principles that transcend the fleeting. But this inner forge burns hot. It consumes energy, time, even relationships. Without balance, it can leave us scorched. Jung's model of the psyche is a symphony of functions: thinking, feeling, sensing, intuiting, each colored by introversion or extroversion. For deep thinkers, introverted thinking is king, while extrovert thinkers, your debaters, your conquerors, hurl ideas into the world, thriving on feedback. We retreat inward. Our thoughts crystallize in silence, sharp and unyielding as diamonds formed under pressure. Jung said we're possessed by the object, but inverted. The outer world is just a spark for our inner dialectic. We don't chase trends or applause. We unearth archetypes from the collective unconscious, those ancient patterns shared by all humanity, from the hero to the shadow. Our minds are alchemical vessels, distilling universal truths from personal chaos. But this strength is also our Achilles heel. Our inferior functions, feeling and sensation, wither in the shadows. We intellectualize emotions, turning heartbreak into philosophy, anxiety into essays. Jung called this the trap of overanalysis. We wield reason like a scalpel, dissecting our wounds without feeling the blood. Your visions become clear only when you look into your heart, he wrote. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. But awakening is no gentle sunrise. It's a descent into the shadow, that dark vault of all we've repressed, the rage we swallow, the vulnerability we hide, the desires society deems unfit. For deep thinkers, the shadow isn't a monster, it's the uninvited guest at our table of ideas. It shows up in our loneliness, secret envy for those who connect effortlessly. It's in our exhaustion, ignoring our body's cries for rest. It's in the misunderstandings, our own projections onto a world we fear judges us because we judge ourselves. These pains are no accident. They're the raw material of individuation, Jung's term for becoming who you were meant to be, not the polished mask you wear, but the integrated soul, where ego and unconscious dance as equals. For deep thinkers, individuation is alchemy. Our loneliness, our exhaustion, our isolation, these are the prima materia, the base or we melt down in the fires of self-inquiry. Journaling dreams, walking solitary paths, noticing synchronicities, these are our tools. That bone-deep fatigue? It's the alchemical calcinatio, burning away society's expectations. Jung might whisper, don't dull your vision to fit in. Your overthinking isn't a flaw, it's your crucible, forging truth from torment. The loneliness? It's the separatio, carving space for soul-deep connections. Seek your tribe, not the shallow crowds, but fellow pilgrims who speak the language of the abyss. The misunderstandings? They're the conjunction, the sacred marriage of opposites. Face your shadow, and the world's judgments lose their bite. You learn to feel without drowning, to connect without losing yourself. This journey isn't just personal, it's cosmic. Deep thinkers, Jung believed, are the unacknowledged priests of the collective. In a world of echo chambers, viral outrage, and shallow fixes, your clarity is a rare medicine. You see the collective shadow, the unspoken fears, the buried traumas, before it erupts in chaos. Your gift is to articulate what others suppress, to name the unnameable. Jung called this spiritual confrontation, not endless rumination, but a courageous dive into the unconscious. To think deeply is to revisit old wounds, to uncover inherited pain, to integrate rather than resolve. It's not about answers, it's about living the questions with fearless honesty. Picture it now, you, no longer at war with your mind. Those 3 a.m. storms become symphonies, guiding you to insights that heal not just you, but others. Your loneliness transforms into compassion for a world sleepwalking through life. Your exhaustion becomes a badge of battles won in the inner realms. Misunderstandings become bridges to souls who once drifted away. Jung didn't promise ease, he promised meaning. The privilege of a lifetime, he said, is to become who you truly are. For deep thinkers, that means embracing your intensity without apology. Practice the pause. When the mental loop tightens, breathe into your body, feel the ground beneath you. Journal not to solve, but to witness. Seek the numinous, art, nature, myth, to feed a soul starved by pure reason. Find rituals that anchor you, a walk at dawn, a line of poetry, a moment of silence where the world's noise fades. Your depth isn't a burden, it's a quiet revolution. In a culture that races past the soul, your ability to pause, to question, to dive deep is a lifeline for humanity. You're not just thinking, you're weaving meaning from chaos, holding space for truths others fear to face. Jung himself lived this. In his 40s, he plunged into his own darkness, wrestling visions of blood-soaked Europe that foretold the world wars. From that descent came the Red Book, a testament to wrestling the unconscious. He didn't resolve his pain, he integrated it, turning torment into wisdom. You can too. So, deep thinker, know this, you're not alone in the abyss. Your struggles are sacred, your questions are lanterns. The world may not understand you, but it needs you. Your mind, with all its weight, is a gift to a species starving for meaning. Keep diving. Keep questioning. Let your shadows become your stars.